As I've mentioned in the past, I'm a writer. I write books. I write blog articles. I write lots of things. And I am obviously a command line, text-based kind of guy. I like to use Vim. I like to use Emacs. I've even been known to use Nano and things like that occasionally. What I don't like to use is Microsoft Word. It adds a bunch of characters and things that you have very little control over. It's a proprietary format that theoretically could go obsolete at some days. I like Markdown. I like to write in Markdown, Latex, and sometimes even org mode. The thing is, I like to change things around. I'm inconsistent, I'm flaky, I like to try something different every few months. But one thing I don't like is Microsoft Word. The problem is, in the publishing industry, almost everyone uses Microsoft Word. Editors, publishers, even the companies that do self-publishing, Kindle and things like that, all use Microsoft Word. Occasionally one or two of them will use PDFs, but Word is the center of everything. And of course you can use LibreOffice or something like that on Linux, but who wants to do that? I want to do things in text. So I have to be able to get my stuff from a text mode, org mode, Markdown, whatever, into Microsoft Word, or into a PDF, or into who knows what format. The thing is, it's very useful to be able to convert one kind of document to another. And on Linux, the most common way to do that is Pandoc. It's a fully open source, really useful document conversion system. And the thing is, I just said you do it on Linux. If you want to do it on Windows, you use exactly the same thing, Pandoc. If you want to do it on Mac, you use exactly the same thing, Pandoc. Now, you'd figure something like the Mac would have this fancy GUI interface to do Pandoc, and it doesn't. If you want to use Pandoc on the Mac, you do the command line. If you want to use Pandoc on Windows, you use the command line. There's just no easy interface for it because this is the kind of app that works best on the command line. There's a million little options and switches you can put on it, and it's simplest just to put it on the command line. So I've got their website here. This is pandoc.org, and as I said, it does have a million little options, so it's a little complicated. It's not that hard to start, though. They've got this really insanely complex diagram on the web page where you can take any of these formats here on the left and convert them to any of these formats on the right, and mostly backwards too. For example, if you've written in LaTeX, you can convert that to Markdown. Writing in LaTeX, you can convert that to Beamer. You can convert it to DZ Slides. You can convert it to HTML5 or EPUB2. Or if you've written in DocX, you can convert that to DocBook or S5 or any of these things. There's a million of them. And you can just tell by this complicated line diagram that it goes both ways. It's a really kind of a show-offy way of saying these all go back and forth. But there are many, many formats involved. In the user's guide, it's pretty simple, but I'm going to go over this for you now so we don't have to go through all that. And there are many, many examples. For example, you want to change something from text into HTML. This is what you type. If you want to type something from text to LaTeX, you can do that. If you want to go from Markdown to PDF or make an HTML slideshow, whatever you want to do, they have examples there that you can just type right in. But let's make it easy. I'll show you. First thing you want to do is check the version of Pandoc. And of course it doesn't work because I don't have it installed. How do you install Pandoc, do you ask? Well, just like you install everything else. It just takes a minute. It's not very big. It's just one little app. Boom, it's done. So now I will go back and look at the version again. Let's see, Pandoc 2.2.1, compiled with some stuff there. Copyright 2006 to 2018. John McFarlane from pandoc.org, free software. Okay, great. So it's installed. Okay, so I have copied some document files here that we're going to play with. Audiobook.docx, that's a Microsoft Word document. Going iPad.md is a markdown version of a book. It's a full-length book. I did not copy the picture files here to make it simpler, and we're going to get an error later on because of that. But it's a markdown file. And main.text is a LaTeX file. Let's look at the text-based files here. We've got Vim, Going, iPad.md. And you see up the top here, it's got some HTML in it because this is formatted to become a Kindle book. But as we get down here, you can see it's got markdown, links, introduction, before you begin. All these things here are internal links that go to other places in the document. Once you get down in here, you can see you've got the double hashtags for an H2, the ** to make this bold, and so forth. It's a standard markdown document. It's a little longer than usual because, like I said, it is a full-length book, but it's markdown. Nothing special. The other one here, Vim main.text, is a LaTeX document. And you see it's got all these heading things at the top. It's got some notes. It's got all these little commands at the top. And this is kind of typical for a LaTeX document. They've got a lot of overhead in the beginning. And then once you get down to the text, it looks pretty standard. For the most part, it's both of these formats, Markdown and LaTeX, are just standard text formats. They're text files with these commands and formatting things in them. It's nothing too awful complicated, and actually we're going to get into Markdown fairly soon on this channel. Don't know if we're going to do LaTeX or not, but Markdown is definitely going to be coming. So anyway, those are our files there. And I'm not going to show you the docx because this is on the command line, and it's not an easy way to do that. Okay, so Pandoc, you run this by typing, believe it or not, Pandoc, and then you type in the source file. Let's take that audiobook.docx file and convert that into a markdown document. We're going to kind of go backwards from what I originally said, but hey, you type in the source file, audiobook.docx, and now you tell what kind of format it's coming from. F for from, and this is a docx file. Now, Pandoc has some intelligence. It can probably figure out just from that extension docx that this is it's a docx file. But it's best and most reliable if you just explicitly tell it what you're doing. We're coming from the docx, and we're going to starts with a T, of course, and we're going to go to Markdown. And we're going to make an output file with an O, and we'll call this audio.md. Now, you see here that the output file has the MD at the end, but Markdown is spelled out as a full word, and docx is there too. So this whole thing, it reads kind of like English if you think about it. You've got the basic command here, Pandoc, and the source file that you're working with. That's kind of normal with command line utilities. But then you're going from docx to Markdown output of AudioMD. Kind of makes sense. Just remember those three things, the F, the T, and the O. Hit enter, and it blinks off. Did it do anything? It seemed awfully fast. Yep, there it is, audio.md. So let's look at that file. And what it's done is taken whatever was there, and it's got the double underlines for an H1. It's got the 3 stars for a heading 3. It's a very small little indented thing. And down here, you can see it's got acx.com in the square brackets and the actual website in the round brackets. It's a standard Markdown URL. Go down a little bit, and you've got some double stars for bold, and so forth. It's taken a doc file from Word and made a Markdown file from it. And you can go the other way too. You can take Pandoc, going, iPad.md, and we're going to go from Markdown to, I don't know, let's go with LaTeX. Latex. I don't say that very much. Okay, we'll call that ipad.tex and hit enter. What did I do? Going ipad. Okay, I forgot the -O. I forgot the output flag. See, sometimes these command line things can be picky. If you don't tell it what it is you're doing, it'll do it wrong. That took a bit longer. And we have ipad.tex. So let's see what that did. Okay, so it's included graphics, which is a LaTeX command. It's got a bunch of stuff here. Hyper target. Okay, this is a table of contents kind of things. This thing here is text bold. Text bold, text bold. Not a lot to this one. It's put slashes in here where there's dollar signs, which is a LaTeX thing. And that's pretty much it. It's a very basic conversion. LaTeX is a pretty complicated format, and it started out as a markdown file, which is a much simpler format, so there's not quite so much to it. What do we do next? Let's see. Clear to get some of this junk off the screen. We can take, let's take our going ipad.md and make an HTML file out of it. Let's say we're going to post this on our website. Going ipad.markdown, and this is going from markdown to HTML. And we're going to call this website.html. We can call it anything we want, but it should end with HTML because we're making a hypertext page out of this. Boom, enter. I'm just going to assume that it worked. And there we have the heading there in an H1 and ditching the desktop in H2. And this, as you can see, it's pretty much all hypertext HTML. It may not be the prettiest HTML out there, but it will work. If I loaded this into a web browser, it'd load just fine. And there you go. You can also do PDFs. You can do man pages. Speaking of man pages, you can do this to look up your man Pandoc to get your manual at any point. Works just like you'd expect. We talked about reading manual pages a few episodes ago, and it's all right there. Not much to, well, I won't say not much to it. It's a very complicated thing because of all the options, but it's there. Again, the website is probably simpler to look up the examples. And that's basically it. It's a relatively simple app to use in a basic way like this. You can get some very advanced stuff going with this. You can make templates that you can compile your documents into specific templates and have like a fully formatted book. You can convert between PDFs and text modes. You can do all kinds of complicated things with this. And of course, you can read it, like I said, in the doc files. But there are many, many examples on the website to show how to do things. You can make HTML slideshows. You can use LaTeX math. You can do various syntax highlightings. All kinds of complicated things. You can do multiple formats at a time. It's extremely flexible. The documentation is quite long, but you can get through it. The best thing to do is just know that you can convert these things and figure it out as you need it. If you find yourself needing to convert from Markdown to PDF, it's an easy enough thing to do. From Markdown to PDF, output whatever file name you want. And that's basically it. A very complicated, very advanced document converter that is not so hard once you start looking at it. And that's about it for this week. I will talk to you next week with something different. And of course, if you can't wait till next week, pick up Going Text, Mastering the Power of the Command Line by Brian Schell, any place books are sold. And I'll see you next week.